We begin with breaking news here at 4 o'clock. A man is now in federal custody accused of threatening to shoot and kill children in Cary. I'm Lena Tillett.
And I'm Dan Haggerty. Several of those threats allegedly targeting a daycare that was just several feet from where he was living. WRAL's Chelsea Donovan joins us live from the Cary Police Headquarters, where officials just finished giving some updates on this case. It's so frightening for really anybody, but the people living in that area. Chelsea, what have we learned?
Absolutely. We learned a lot from a federal complaint filed today that states that Douglas made 9 different cyber tips to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, stating that he was going to shoot and kill Mexican children. Now, that was a huge cause of concern for federal authorities, that they believed that Douglas could have been talking about Bright Horizons Daycare. That is a daycare that's situated just feet from the extended stay America in Cary, in which Douglas was staying, and ultimately where he was apprehended. Now, Douglas was arrested last night at that Cary hotel that I mentioned for cyber stalking, but he was then later released on a $1,000 bond. Today, we learned he was being watched by authorities and that he allegedly violated his release order and used electronic devices. He was then rearrested and taken into federal custody. Now, we should mention that Douglas was released from federal prison back in 2016 after he threatened to kill someone at the British Embassy in Washington, D.C. Also, over the past 15 years, he's been charged with cyber stalking 3 times in Wake County, but all of those cases were dismissed. However, he has an extensive criminal history of threatening behavior dating back from 2002 and spanning 8 different states. Take a listen to the authorities today speaking here at Cary PD from this press conference.
We know when we see community after community where these active shooting situations have occurred. Unfortunately, sadly, as you know, had one in our own community a little over a year ago. Certainly threats against school children we're going to take very seriously.
Every threat is a threat that we must take seriously. That doesn't mean we should disrupt our daily lives. It doesn't mean that we should fret, but we should be vigilant. And anyone in the public who sees someone who could be mobilizing towards violence should pick up the phone and call the experts. Call 911.
2 things we should mention. Douglas actually called the WRAL newsroom this morning. He spoke to Ken Smith and said that this was all a misunderstanding and he was being pinned down by the FBI for crimes that he didn't commit. Also, I spoke to his mother this morning, who says that her son has a severe mental illness, but he's threatening to get the care that he needs. Right now, Douglas is in the custody of the U.S. Marshals in federal custody. He's due back in a federal courtroom in Raleigh next week for a detention hearing.
Wow. All right, Chelsea Donovan, keep us updated. Thank you. The Southern Nash High School student accused of shooting 4 people at the Wilson County Fairgrounds is now being held on $1 million bond.
Braulio Fuentes Martinez appeared in a court this morning to answer to charges, including attempted murder. WRAL's Eric Miller was in that courtroom and joins us now live. Eric, we're also learning